What's up, Lottie Dottie and everybody? This is yours, Be Little, back in the building today. Of course, I'm excited about being here with you on today. I appreciate each and every one of you that are logging on from all over the country, all over the world, that take moments and times to support this platform. And I want to thank everyone who began to chime in to tell me that they couldn't hear what was happening. I appreciate you. If you didn't say anything, I would have went through the entire show with no comments and nobody. I'm excited about being here. It's Saturday, the 28th of November, right after Thanksgiving, after we've had all of that great food. And I'm in Southern Louisiana, and currently here, it is just raining and just real dreary out in Louisiana. And I'm tired of watching movies. I've watched all the movies I can, even though I will return back to doing that just a little bit. But if you're coming in the room, I want you to say hi. I want to say to Regina, Guy, to Mitchell Williams, to Manja, Mawa, Jermaine Young, all of those that were coming in the room earlier. I did have some technical difficulties. Hopefully you can hear me now. If you can, just go ahead in the comments section and just type a word of greetings to me. I hope that you are doing well, that you're okay on this dreary Saturday afternoon. There we go. So I've just said hello to each and every one of you in the comment section. And again, I just want to thank everyone who hung in there when we were trying to come on and y'all couldn't hear anything. I'm telling you, you guys are the best. And I'm grateful that you guys were able to go ahead and let me know. I want to deal with a subject today that has been dear to my heart. Of course, this is the holidays, and the message that I'm going to deal with could be for everybody. However, everybody's not going to connect with what I'm about to say. And so, we're going to do it. What's up, Anthony Toussaint? Good evening to you. So glad that you're able to come in. Manja. It's so good to see you today. Thank you for that heads up that y'all couldn't hear me. I would have been so upset if I would have went through the entire thing that's on my heart, the stuff that's on my mind, and then nobody heard it. Oh my goodness. So thank you, Manja, for just helping me to get that straight. Good evening to you as well. I'm just hanging out on this dreary Saturday in Southern Louisiana, and I just wanted to take a break from movies and whatnot. I'm about to go out, grab me something to eat, and there's a personal little guilty pleasure that I want to go and pick up. I'll shoot a picture of it later on social media so that you can see what it is. But I want to get out and do something for me, and that's kind of what I'm going to deal with on today. So I won't hold you any longer. I'm going to just go ahead and get right into it. Of course, this is the holidays, and these are the holidays, and it's time where we spend moments with our loved ones, creating memories, creating moments, and in particularly, if we've been looking for relationships, this is the time where we get together. Now, I heard that the closer we get to Christmas, that some of those relationships start to break up. I don't know how true that is. Some people don't want to buy others gifts, and so they just find ways to get out of the relationship. I sure hope that's not true. I hope that's just a statistic that's made up. I hope that's not true. But one thing I can't help but to overlook is how many people are breaking up during this time. It's all over my timeline. Everywhere I look, I'm seeing hurt people. I'm seeing people that trusted others with their heart, and then all of a sudden, those people either cheated on them or just abandoned the relationship and moved forward and moved on. I mean, this just seems to be the season. And y'all, excuse me, my little earpiece is messing up. I think I need to buy a new one, because it's just interfering with my flow. But I need to hear myself so that I could betterly, properly. While I'm doing this, you could take a moment to say hi in the comment section. Let me know who's in the room, because I'd love to definitely chat with you. there. Hey, Patty Fondow, good to see you. Thank you for chiming in right now. And of course, everything I'm talking about right now, you can go over to Swag. Swag is a Facebook page on social media. It's a hangout for singles, a hangout for singles. Listen, let's get into the matter. So I'm looking at all of these relationships that are just happening here or there and that are breaking up, and I'm seeing a lot of hurt. And I just wanted to take a moment to just encourage those that are going through broken periods in their relationships with their significant other that they may have had and it may have broken up or whatever it is. There's something that I want to tell you today, and you may not like it, but I believe it's the truth. All right, you ready? Here it goes. Instead of looking to people, places, and things for happiness, I want to encourage you today to look within. What do you mean by that, little? Well, I want to tell you to love yourself. Love yourself. That's right. Love yourself. Self love is significant. And I will even suggest to you today that you cannot properly love somebody else until you have truly learned to love yourself. I heard a saying some time ago that says that hurt people. That when you've been hurt and you really haven't processed that stuff that happened to you during that relationship or whatnot, that it's easy to bring that into the next relationship you enter into, and now you haven't taken the time to heal yourself, is trying to connect with another broken person, and the two try to bring those lives together, and they turn to each other looking for happiness. Well, let me tell you today, happiness starts within us. Joy and peace, it starts within us. And whenever we are attempting to find comfort and love and happiness outside of us, we are more subject to enter into codependent relationships. And what's a codependent relationship? Codependent relationship is when I look to somebody else as the source of my happiness and my peace. And so my entire world is framed about around how that person feels for that day. So if that person wakes up happy, if that person wakes up joyful, if that person wakes up in a way where they are, feeling good, we'll connect with them and we'll zap off of their energy in trying to say they're good, so I'm good. But what about yourself? What is it that gives you meaning? What is it that gives you purpose? And I'm going to tell you that if you try to put all of that purpose and that meaning into somebody else, to try to get that happiness from somebody else, you will be disappointed every time. Why? Because happiness it doesn't come from within, it comes from without. I'm sorry, happiness doesn't come from without, it comes from within. In other words, we're not trying to manifest this healing experience outside of us, but we're trying to get us together. Now, here's a verse that caught my heart. In Mark chapter 12 and 31, Jesus was asked a question. Jesus was asked, what's the greatest commandment out of all of the laws, all of the commandments that have been written in the Old Testament? What is the greatest? As to which Jesus, our Christ, responded, he said, first of all, to love the Lord thy God, our God, with all of our heart, with all of our might, with all of our soul. But this is the second part that really captured my attention. Not only did he tell us that we should look up and love God, but then he talks about us loving others. And look what he says here in Mark 12 and 31. He says that the second commandment is that that you love your neighbor as yourself. That you love your neighbor as yourself. Now I want to ask you a question today. How can I love my neighbor properly if I never learned how to love myself? Just watch this. Think about that real quick. How can I love my neighbor if I never learned how to love myself? And what I find is hurt people, broken people that have never discovered their purpose and their meaning and allow God to be their joy, allow purpose and mastery to be their joy. They'll look from outside of them, looking for peace and happiness and joy. They'll look to things, they'll look to drugs, to alcohol, to relationships in order to get this happiness when everything there is, or everything you need in order to love properly begins within you. That's why we say hurt people hurt people. But I also believe that if hurt people, then healed people heal people. How can I love my neighbor? How can I love others? How can I do good to others? And how can I properly give them what they need when it is that I don't know what I need? When I don't know how to properly deal with me. So, all of those that have recently been hurt by a relationship, all of those that have recently just been let down because you took a gamble on love, all of those who may be in a relationship, but you're looking for somebody to be your peace and to be your joy and your happiness. What I'm telling you today is the first thing you got to do before that you can love anybody else is that you've got to learn how to love yourself. There's a scripture in Ephesians 5 that speaks to marriages, and in particularly it's talking to husbands, and the husband is commissioned to love his wife as he loves his own body. But if you haven't learned self-care and self-love, if you haven't learned your value in and of yourself, and you start choosing to find your value based upon your relationship and your relationship alone, you will always walk away from that experience feeling empty and feeling broken because you haven't learned how to properly love yourself. Now, I- I'm talking from experience. I'm not trying to say that I'm some professional or something because I'm not. I don't have it all together. I'm still working on me. However, here's one thing that I learned because I remember being in this relationship, and I wanted the relationship so bad. It meant everything to me. The only thing that would I thought would have brought me peace or bring me joy was having this relationship. And no matter how much I gave myself to it, no matter what I did, no matter what I gave, it just seemed that it would not be reciprocated. What I was looking for would not become reciprocated. And it used to crush me emotionally. So I sat down with a journal and I started dealing with what I was feeling. I was started dealing with why I was feeling what I was feeling and what was going on. And I realized that there was some childhood trauma attached to that. And listen, I believe in therapy. I would have never discovered that if I didn't decide to talk to someone. And I thank God for all of those therapists out there that are doing their thing. And while I'm saying, I want to send shout out to Sia Mawa. Yep, awesome trauma coach out in this world. She's one of my eagles, part of my inner circle of people, and we fine tune each other. And she's one of the people that I kind of confide in, and she helps to get me fine tuned. But I believe in therapy. I believe in self discovery, and one of the things that I learned about me after pursuing that relationship and it not working and going through the stages of grief and going through brokenness and trying to figure out what was really going on. When I finished doing the work on me, I ended up coming to the conclusion that I no longer knew what it is that I love to do. Now, I get up every morning, I work for people. Every day, I'm on the grind, making other people's visions happen as a graphic designer. But after that money had been made, I learned that I really didn't know myself. When I sat down with the paper and I wrote down, what is it that you love to do? And I love to teach. I love to play video games, PS5. I love to hang out with my friends, but I realized that I wasn't doing any of those things, none of those things. And what shocked me is it almost took me 20 minutes to reintroduce myself to myself. 20 minutes. That bothered me. That bothered me. And so I realized that the bigger part of the problem was not the other person, but the fact that I did not know me. I did not know me. And I think that there are a lot of people who are like that, that instead of entering into an interdependent relationship, they become codependent, and codependent relationships always turn toxic. Because if you don't have purpose and you don't have meaning and you're looking for that in somebody else, and they can't give you what you're looking for, man, that crazy cycle of toxicity will start to build, and next thing you know, you're fussing and you're arguing, looking for something you can't get out of another person. So it's very important that we look within. How can you love your neighbor as yourself if you never learn how to love yourself? You know what I did in discovering, and I'll give you a couple of tips for those that may be dealing with something along this line. One of the things that I discovered was, um, I looked at what it is that I would want out of a relationship. I wrote everything. I wrote it down. I wrote everything that I would want. I would want to go out on dates. I would want to be spontaneous. I would want to enjoy meals. I'd like to watch movies. And when I came up with that list of things that I thought other people can bring out of me to make me happy, then I started doing those things for myself. Recently, you might have saw me out taking a walk with my feet on the ground, being grounded. You may have noticed, and some people have said, "Say, man, little, just so there's something so different about you. What's going on?" Well, the truth of the matter is, I've discovered what it means to be in love with myself, and so I go on dates with myself. Soon as I get off of this podcast, I've made a date with myself. I'm going to pick up something that's on my mind, on my heart, what I would want to do, and I'm going to get what I like. And I'm not doing it for anybody else. I'm doing it for me. So I sat down with a journal and I wrote down what I would like if I was in a relationship. I wrote down who am I? What is it that I like to do? What is it that brings me joy? What is it that brings me peace? Because you're going to attract, the truth of the matter is, you're going to attract what you are and who you are. And if you want better people to be attracted to you, you have to start off being a better person. You have to start off desiring to be better in what you do. Listen, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you can get in the comment section. Go ahead, drop your comments there, or you can call the line. We'll put you live on the air to hear what you want to say concerning this subject of loving yourself. Has anybody ever been where I've been, where you had to learn how to love yourself? You can call that number and we'll talk to you about it. So now, what are some tips so that I can find my identity again, so that I can connect with me again? What are some tips? What are some things that can be done in order in loving yourselves? I got a couple of notes right here. The first thing that I'll tell you, that if you're going to find yourself, if you're going to learn how to properly love yourself before you love somebody else, you got to learn how to have fun by yourself. You have to learn how to have fun by yourself. You know, it's always good to set a couple of days off to yourself to do some things. Recently, I've been traveling, I've been going places, doing things, really in connecting with myself. And I tell you, I feel a whole lot better for it. I feel a lot better. You got to have fun by yourself. If you can't have fun by yourself, let me tell you, that other person or whomever, whatever that comes into your life, that stuff will be temporary. But when you've learned how to love yourself, you'll be able to have something that comes from the inside that nobody can take away. It's almost like we used to say back in the day, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me, so the world can't take it away. Why?
Yeah, just
Because
call.
this
Hello?
joy comes from the inside and not the outside. So I encourage you, learn how to have fun by yourself. When was the last time you dated yourself? When was the last time you went on a movie or went to a movie alone? When was the last time you decided to just take a bath and just listen to your favorite music and just get caught up in the moment without the need for someone or something to be a part of all of that? I'm sorry, Manja. Manja was said she was trying to call. Let me go back to the line. I turned away and looked at my notes just for a quick second. You can be a part of the conversation. All right, I see you here. Give me a second to set up my earpiece because it's just been acting crazy. Let me see. I'll try to have you come through the speaker here, and we're going to unmute you. All right. I'm assuming it's Manja who's on the call with us today. Are you there? Hello? Maybe she can't hear me. Let me see what's going on here. Test it. Oh, I'm muted. That's why. All right. Well, let me unmute myself. All right. I'm assuming, Manja, it's you, a caller ending in 2088.
Yes,
How are you doing, my friend?
I am well. I am so proud of you. I'm so glad you're having this conversation about loving yourself. And I just have a little input. Like, it's so important that we take the time to heal and to take the time to love ourselves. And I remember before I moved to Texas, I was living in Louisiana, Lafayette, and I was going through some things,
Right.
And I truly believe that I truly loved myself, but then I would get into situations with men cheating on me and everything, and me begging them to be with me.
Wow.
And everything like that. And then God spoke to me. He said, you know what? The reason why you're having these issues is because you don't love yourself. You don't value how much I love you,
Right.
And so I took the time to separate myself from everyone and begin to really learn to love myself. And you'll discover when you take the time just to truly love yourself, you'll find things that you like you were saying. Like, I found so much stuff about myself,
right,
things that I like, and the things that, why did I put up with those things? Like, I started saying, oh my God, like, do you really see what you were going through, what you were accepting? So
let me just stop you right there, and I hope I won't ruin your thought. But are you hearing what you're saying? I love two things, and I don't want our callers or those that are listening to miss these points. Number one, you said you discovered things about yourself that you didn't know. I'm right there with you. Recently, yeah. I put a picture up of my Thanksgiving meal created by my hand. I did it all. It was looking beautiful. It was a little Louisiana Cajun gumbo, and I put it up. But when I started loving myself, I never realized that there was a cook in me until I started doing that, giving myself to it. I didn't even know. Like, I don't need nobody to cook for me. I could cook my own rice and eggs. What's up? So I didn't. I love you saying that, and I didn't want that. And another thing that you said was, when you love yourself, and this is kind of how I heard it when you said it. It's almost as if your own value goes up, because you said it this way. You said, man, I realized I was begging people to stay, begging people to love me, begging people to be there. But when I loved myself, when I discovered my value, I stopped all of that foolishness.
I stopped all of that. Like, I am worthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't have to chase after no man. I'm worthy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I started to, and then, like, even when you're going through that phase of loving yourself and stuff, there's some things that you discover that you don't really like about yourself, that you want to change about yourself to become a better you.
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that. I'll be honest. I'll be vulnerable right here. Boy, this is tough for me to even admit, but it's true. Every bit of it is true. So in discovering myself, one day I decided that I would cut off all the noise, kill all noise. So I cut off my cell phone, I cut off the television. I made sure that there was nothing to beep or interrupt me during my time of journaling and looking within. And let me tell you about the first 2 times when I heard my own heartbeat. I had never heard that before, and it scared me.
Wow.
It scared me. The first 2 times I attempted to just really sit with myself and look within and to really think about some of the challenges and the issues I was having. The first 2 times it scared me, and I didn't realize that I did not know or didn't even want to be alone with myself. So I had to reintroduce myself to myself. Patty Fondal said, absolutely. I had to get to the point where I felt comfortable going to the movies by myself. I take myself out to dinner. It is such a joy to discover myself. I'm telling you, Manja, it is one of the greatest feelings in the world when you no longer have to look outside of yourself for comfort and for peace and for healing. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but you were dropping them nuggets so fast and so good. I wanted to make sure that people didn't miss what you were saying. Continue if you could, if I didn't interrupt you.
Thank you for having me on the show. Thank you. Appreciate you.
And not a problem. I'm so glad that you were able to share that with us. I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, if you want to tell your story, you can get on the phone, dial us up, 404-710-0707. We're just talking about loving ourselves, the importance of loving ourselves. And of course, we were playing on Mark 12:31 that says, love your neighbor as yourself. But how can you properly love somebody else if you haven't learned how to love yourself? And so I dropped a point that said that the first thing that you needed to do is that you needed to learn how to have fun with yourself. And Patty Fondal just hit on that when she said, man, I learned how to go to the movies. I've learned how to get along with myself. That's an amazing place to be when you can learn how to have fun with yourself. Regina Guy says she's appreciating the show. Wow, that is good, sir. Well, I'm only good because Manja helped to make it good. Her contributions really helped. And of course, you yourself being here really helped us to do a better job. So love yourself. Stop looking for people, places, and things to bring you contentment. The sooner you get the discipline of disconnecting from others and learning how to connect with you, that's the moment that growth happens. That's the moment. I was praying a prayer recently that says, God, make me a product of your love and grace. That kind of started me on this journey. But in asking God for that, I didn't know that one of the first places that he was going to take me was to get me to learn how to love myself. I don't need people. I don't need places. I don't need things. All I need is him and a self-discovery of who I am. If you want to be a part of the conversation, pick up the phone, dial those tones. You can dial us and come in 404-410-0707 to tell us your story. All right. So have fun with yourself is one of the first things that I was going to tell you. The next thing I'm going to encourage you to do is to forgive yourself for your mistakes. Forgive yourself for your mistakes. Allow yourself to become freed of anything that you had done. And see, when we can reach past our mistakes, we can learn how to forgive and forget and not hold on to bitterness and hold on to grudge. I'm telling you, when I learned the stuff that dealt with me, and I'm so on this kick of discovering myself, I stopped asking questions like, why did they do that to me? Why did they do that to me? That's not even an issue for me. The questions that I start asking myself is, why did I allow it? Why did I allow it? It's not about them. It is about me. And I no longer go around attempting to let people be the reason that I'm fixed. I am learning how to deal with me. And so I got to learn how to date myself. I have to learn how to forgive myself of the mistakes that I have made. Uh, Another thing I'm going to tell you is that you got to learn how to surprise yourself. Start saying yes to opportunities. Now, naturally, I'm a recluse. I'm a recluse. I don't normally go places. I'm happy at home. Give me water, electricity, and the internet, and I'm good. That's normally. But growth happens in our experiences. Growth happens in our experiences. And the moment that we stop having experiences is the moment we start growing. Think about this. We didn't know that 1 + 1 we didn't know that 1 + 1 = 2 until we had the experience of school. We didn't know that 2 × 2 = 4 until we went to a higher grade and had that experience. Well, what I'm going to tell you today is surprise yourself. Stop saying no to living in this bubble, and not willing to have experiences. All I want to do is come in my house, get on my sofa, close the drapes, and sing this song, "Woe is me, oh, I will never," or all of that stuff. No, 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 it's not about that. Sometimes you got to learn how to say yes. When you get an invitation, now be safe, wear your mask, because Rona is out there trying to get folk. However, we've got to learn how to start saying yes to things. It's raining outside. I don't want to go out in the rain, but I made a date with myself to go pick up a special little item that I want for myself. It's going to be a guilty pleasure. Now, most days I'm eating fruits and vegetables and things of that nature, but I got something on my mind today that's breaking all of that. And I'm coming back to my house. I'm going to watch movies and I'm going to indulge in my small little piece of guilty pleasure. And I'm going to enjoy myself and I'm going to go out in the rain to do it. I'm not going to say no to myself. If this is what I want, if I can afford it, it's not going to set me back. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. I love what Suzette Bradley says. She says, don't own what ain't yours. Wow. Wow. Don't own what ain't yours. I wish you would call Suzette and give us some more clarity on that statement. Don't own what ain't yours. Call in. You definitely can call in. Phone number 404-410-0707. Let me go and check the phone lines because I just tell y'all to call in, but I never go back and look. Let me make sure nobody's holding on because I never went back to look. But yeah, Suzette, I wish you would call in and give us more. Don't own what ain't yours. That sounds good. Almost sounds like a good sermon that can be preached, something that can be said. Stop living in fear and start living who you are. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Suzette gave more clarity. She says, life is vast. Live in the moment and speak. That is so important. So important. That, you know what has also been crucial in me growing and finding myself, Suzette? Thank you for sharing that. I started making I am affirmations over my life. Now I know some of y'all are crazy, but I agreed with the word of God and I started agreeing with who God says that I am. That is so important. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he. The Bible also tells us, be not conformed to this world, be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. Listen, a lot of us believe that once we get in God, we get in church, that the work that's going to happen in us is going to be Holy Spirit written and that we don't have to do any work. We just got to wait for the results. But that is not true. We have to take steps for our mental healing to change that compulsive, repetitive thing. Because listen, when you break up with somebody that you tried and you gave up, Man, it's easy to become a social media stalker, wanting to know everything they're doing. How could they walk away from me when I gave them the best love? And now all of a sudden you can't even put down your phone because you just got to know what they are doing and where they are at, or if they are having fun, or if they are miserable, or if they, no, 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 no. We've got to break that repetitive compulsive cycle. And the only way that we can do it is to change our thinking. And one of the ways that I changed my thinking is I started making some I am affirmation. I am loved by God. I am blessed. I am able to be a blessing. I am more than enough. I am the head and I'm not the tail. I started repeating. I still do that to this day. And I'm telling you, man, it'll change your thinking. And some of the things that Manja said when she says, man, I got tired of begging people to be in my life. All of a sudden, those I am affirmations started living in me. And I started walking around with this mindset that was like, greater is he that is in me than he that's in the world. Or greater is he that is in me than he that's after me. All of a sudden, my confidence grew. And I was able to say no to anything that would put me second and put me first. Yeah, so that's good, Suzette. Thank you. We have to learn how to live in the moment and speak life. That is so essential. If you're going to love yourself, that is so essential. All of that time fussing and crying and carrying on over who won't love us, who we begging to stay with us, all of that time could be spent in building a better version of ourselves. I'm not in competition with nobody else. I'm only in competition with who I was yesterday and trying to see if I can be a better version of that person today. I'm not worried about what other people think or how they feel or any of that stuff. No, no, no. Folks love to project their projection of who they see you as. That show is right. You know who you are. Why others' perceptions important to you is not yours to own. That is amazing. That is amazing. It's not yours to own. Man, you sound like it. Call me, Suzette. Call me. Let me put the number back on here because you got some great wisdom. You got some stuff that you seem like you can share with us. You can really help us. We can't own that stuff. Listen, if you want to be a part of the conversation, you don't even have to say your name if you don't want to. But if you wanted to tell us about your experience in learning how to love yourself, feel free to pick up the phone and call us 404-410-0707. Will allow you to become a part of the conversation that we're having in learning how to love ourselves. So, gave you some good pointers here. First thing I told you is to learn how to have fun by yourself. Second thing I told you is that you got to forgive yourself of the mistakes that you have and the mistakes other people try to hold you to. And let me tell you, if you got somebody in your life that's constantly bringing up your mistakes, they don't want you to forget where you've been or what had happened to you. Those are not your friends. Those are not your friends. They're your manipulators, your intimidators, and they mean you no good anytime you are trying to make some level of forward progress. And they come here just trying to hold you back, trying to continue to feel guilty for who you were in or what you were in. I'm telling you, those are not your friends. You may need to reevaluate your circle. And this isn't a point that I wanted to make, but my entire circle has changed. Some people have been fired out of my circle and I didn't even send them a memo. I just let them go. I let them go and they don't even know, because one of the things that I learned is once you learn how to love yourself, you don't need closure anymore. You don't need to have the last word. You don't need to know if you were heard, or you don't feel the need to let that person know how hurt you are. And you all of a sudden you are just going over and over again and trying to nurse that hurt And so now you call them and say, hey, I just had one more thing to say, and you say that, and then you hang up the phone, and then 2 days later you're picking up the phone to call them back to tell them what it is that you have to say again, and then hang up the phone, and then 2 days later you get stuck in this crazy cycle just because you have to have the last word, or you want to make sure that you understand. But when you start loving yourself, you start realizing it's not about other people, it's about me. And you get over the desire to have to call folk and make sure they know what's on your mind, or make sure that you have the last word. That becomes non-existent once you find love, once you discover who you are, and realize that you don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need that. You don't need that. Let me remind each and every one of you that you're fearfully and wonderfully made. You're made by the hands of God yourself. And you don't need to be affirmed or by anybody else. Everything that you need for your happiness is within you. It truly is. And I want to remind you of that right now. I'm about to end because I didn't want to be here all day. I just wanted to spend a little time with you on this Saturday before I go on my little date with myself. I just wanted to just chat with you just a little bit and get it. So have fun by yourself. Forgive yourself. Surprise yourself. And I'm going to stop here because I could go so much further than where I am right now. But one of the last things I'm going to tell you to do is to start a journal. An ink pen is a crowbar to the mind. Let me say that again. An ink pen is a crowbar to the mind. An ink pen helps you to go through so much processing. It'll be better than any counselor you could ever have, just writing. And so I want you to start a journal. I want you to track your mood, track your triggers to what affected your mood, track what caused you to not be at this place where you're loving yourself. Track why are you jealous? Track why are you angry? Track why are you hating this person? And then write down what was the trigger that brought that out of you. And then once you've written that down, write down what is the opposite of that emotion, and what could have happened to take you out of that. Man, you'll start unpacking feelings, and you'll start unloading some things, and then all of a sudden, the very thing you thought you was mad about, you'll find out, wait a minute, this is really not about somebody else. This was really about me. This was really about me. You cannot properly love somebody else until you have loved yourself. It is impossible to love your neighbor as yourself if you've never taken the time to discover who you are. It's just that simple. It's that simple. Listen, thank y'all for hanging out with me. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. Yeah, I like that, Alma. Got to hit the reload button from time to time. You know, our phones, as fancy as that iPhone 11 may be, every now and again, it'll jam up or act quirky. And the only thing that can solve the problem is a reboot. Maybe it's time that you need a reboot. Maybe what's going on in your head, going on in your heart, the stuff that's messing you up right now is because you need a reboot. You need a reload. You need a restart. So I encourage you to love yourself. Listen, got nothing but time. If you just need somebody to talk to, hit me up. We'll help work through this together. I'm not a counselor or anything, but there's no reason why you should be walking around depressed. I saw a meme that I shared on my wall. And to everybody that's been liking our memes, everybody that has been liking what has been on our wall, we're just better together. I'm just here to bless you, to let you know that you don't have to go through what you're going through, hoping to point you in a direction to where you can see greatness in you and greatness for yourself. I'm hoping that that happens. So love yourself, love yourself, love yourself. Change your mindset concerning you. I made up in my mind that I will not let any negative thought that I think about myself go unchallenged. I refuse to claim that I'm broke. I'm going to remind myself who I am in God. I refuse to let any negative chatter go on in my head unchallenged. I want you to love yourself. I want you to love yourself. I want you to become very comfortable in the skin that God created you in, and make no apologies for being you. You shouldn't have to change yourself so drastically to fit in somebody else's life. No, you're going to attract what is right for you when it is right for you. One day, everything's going to make sense. But you got to love yourself. I was looking for a meme I had on my wall, but now lately I've been sharing so much. It's just been crazy. Yep. Well, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Listen, family, I love you to life. I love you to truth. Remember to take God with you everywhere you go. And if God can't go there, you don't go there. Oh, I know what I was doing. I got lost up. I just wanted to send a couple of shouts out, but it seems I can't even. Okay, yeah, here it goes. Let me see who is present with us today. I just want to say to various people, Alma, thank you for stopping by. Alma's one of the Eagles now. She's part of my circle. We keep each other strong. Phyllis, thank you for coming. Joseph, George, thank you for coming. Manja, you helped to make the show great. I appreciate you calling in. Bernice, thank you for being here. Carolyn, thank you. Edonia, Saya, another one of my circle, Eagles in the building. Saya, thank you for being here. Denise, thank you for being here. My sister from another mister, Denise. Melinda, I got to get you some of that gumbo, Melinda. I saw it. I might pull some out the freezer. If you in town, let me know. I might get you some. But Melinda, we're going to look out for you. Thank you for showing up. And Anthony, thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you so much. We're better together. We are better together. We truly are. And I guess this is where we're going to get here. Let me just catch a couple of more of these comments. Edonia, I love this. We have to love ourselves in order to love others. So important. We can't properly love others until we learn how to love ourselves. Let's see here. More comments. Self-love is the most important love. It surely is. Suzette. And Suzette, thank you for your contribution. You really helped to make this great, this day great. You helped to spark some thoughts. But thanks for being a part of the conversation. Thank you for sharing. I needed this. Much love. We're better together, Phyllis. We're better together. Hang in there. Listen, just a little tip I can give you. So, all right. Real talk. Saw a great movie. I highly recommend it. Greenland. Somebody type Greenland. Greenland. If you can put yourself in a position to watch this, it's really, really going to bless your life. It was intense to the very last moment. So that's my movie recommendation of the week. Greenland was the top movie I've seen this week. Now I'm about to go back on my sofa after I get back home from dating myself, and I'll watch another movie. But right now, Greenland is where it's at. Don't sleep on it. You won't be disappointed. And then, of course, I've been watching Queen's Gambit. It's been interesting. I'm not finished with it yet, but it's really picked up on at the end. It's on Netflix. I can't say whether or not to check it out just yet, but I'll look into it. But for my movie fanatics, Greenland is where it's at. Yeah. Donya, Greenland is a courageous movie. It really is. I enjoyed it. I've watched it twice now. I may end up watching it again. Oh, and I saw Jingle Jangle on Netflix. I didn't know I was going to enjoy that as much as I did, but it's always wonderful to see people that look like me on film. And it was tastefully done. It was a Christmas movie, tastefully done. Wonderful cast, wonderful music, because I normally don't like music. I really don't. I don't like musicals. But it was really good. So I recommend Jingle Jangle and Greenland. Let me get out of here because now I'm holding y'all up. Thank you again for being with us today. This show could not be what it is without you. Remember, love yourself. Don't worry about loving anybody else until you've learned how to properly love yourself. Because if you can't make yourself happy, you won't be able to make somebody else happy. I love you. Until we meet again, y'all have a great afternoon. I got a date with myself I got to attend. So I'm out of here.